The news comes to us many times each day. It arrives on our phones with short sounds and flashing lights. It follows us when we open the internet or when we scroll on a small screen. For many people, this is the first thing they see in the morning and the last thing they see at night. The news is part of modern life, but it also carries a strong power. It can fill the mind with worry, with fear, or with anger, even when these feelings do not belong to our direct experience in that moment. When we read or watch the news, we often believe that we are only receiving information. But the truth is that the news also shapes the inner state of our hearts. A single headline can change the mood of the day. A short video can remain in memory for many hours. In this way, the news is not only outside of us, it becomes part of our thoughts, part of our emotions, and even part of our body through tension and restlessness. To understand this effect is the first step. If we see clearly that the news has the power to move our minds, then we also see that we have a choice. We can notice how often we allow the news to enter, and we can notice what it does once it is inside. This awareness does not mean we must close our eyes to the world. Instead, it helps us recognize that every message, every image, is not neutral. It carries weight. And when we see this weight, we can begin to hold it with more care, instead of letting it push us from one state to another without reflection. When we think about the news, we often imagine that being informed is the same as being responsible. We may feel that if we do not check updates many times a day, we are not doing our part as citizens of the world. But balance is important. To care about society does not mean to give away all of our inner calm. True awareness is not only about what happens outside, but also about how we live each moment of our own lives. If we spend hours each day following breaking stories, our minds can become restless and heavy. This heaviness does not always help us take wise action. Often, it only leaves us tired or confused. Real responsibility includes taking care of our hearts, so that when we do act, we act from clarity and not from fear. When we understand this, we can see that it is not selfish to step back sometimes. It is a way to protect the ability to respond with steadiness. Imagine the simple act of limiting the time we spend with news. Instead of checking many times without thought, we can choose certain moments. This small choice creates space. In that space, we may notice the sound of the wind, the presence of family, or the taste of a meal. Life continues all around us, and it deserves our attention as much as distant events do. By finding this balance, we are not turning away from the world. We are strengthening our ground, so that when we do look outward, we see with a steadier vision and a calmer heart. Some news stories are very hard to face. Reports of conflict, loss, or disaster can feel heavy in the chest. When we watch these stories on a small screen, they come close to us, almost as if they are happening right in our own homes. Our hearts may tighten, and our thoughts may race. In these moments, it is natural to feel sadness or concern. These feelings show that we are human, connected to the wider world. Yet if we let them grow without care, they can take away our steadiness and leave us overwhelmed. When we meet difficult stories, one simple step is to pause before reacting. Instead of rushing to share, comment, or search for more details, we can take a moment to breathe and notice what is happening inside. This small pause does not remove the pain of the story, but it gives us a little distance, a gentle space. Within this space, we may realize that we cannot solve every problem, yet we can choose how we carry the weight that enters our minds. Holding this kind of presence helps us to stay steady even when the world feels uncertain. It does not mean we ignore suffering or deny reality. It means we allow the story to be seen clearly without letting it control our every thought. From this steady place, we can decide if action is possible, or if it is better simply to acknowledge and then rest. In both cases, the pause gives us a chance to remain grounded, so that the waves of the world do not pull us entirely away from the shore of our own lives. In the middle of daily life, we are surrounded by many voices. The news is one of them, but there are also messages from friends, family, and strangers online. Together they can create a constant stream of sound and image. If we allow this stream to flow without pause, it can blur our sense of what is important. We may find ourselves reacting quickly, moving from one topic to the next, without time to see clearly. Creating space is not about escaping from life. It is about making room to notice what truly matters. When we put down the phone for a while, we may find that our thoughts become lighter. We may see that many urgent updates lose their power once we step back. What seemed impossible to ignore a moment ago becomes less heavy when we return later. This shows us that not every story needs our full attention at all times. Clarity grows in stillness. Just as water becomes clear when it is not stirred, the mind also becomes clear when it is not constantly shaken by new reports. In that clarity, we can remember what is close to us, the people we care for, the responsibilities we can touch with our own hands, the simple rhythms of the day. By returning to these, we find balance again. With a clear mind, we can choose more wisely what news to receive and how to respond. We do not need to follow every sound. Instead, we can listen with care and answer only when it is helpful. In this way, daily news becomes part of life, but not the master of life. It informs us, but it does not control us. The flow of news will never end. Each day, new events appear, new voices rise, and new images arrive on our screens. We cannot stop this movement, but we can choose how we meet it. By seeing the influence of news on the heart, by finding balance between awareness and calm, by pausing with difficult stories, and by creating space for clarity, we learn a different way to walk through the noise of modern life. This way is gentle, steady, and respectful of both the world around us and the life within us. When we meet the news with such steadiness, we are not closing our eyes. We are opening them more carefully. We can look at the world without being pulled under by its storms. We can listen without losing our own center. In this way, the news becomes a part of life, but it does not take the whole of life. We live with more peace, even as we remain connected to the wider world. Before I close, I would like to express my deep gratitude. To those who have taken time to watch and listen, thank you. To those who have shown support through kind comments, through likes, through subscribing, through super thanks, and through membership, please know that your kindness is felt with sincerity. Your presence and your support make it possible for these reflections to continue. May these words bring some ease to your days. May you find moments of stillness in the midst of constant sound, and may your heart remain steady as the world continues to turn.